Welcome to Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. And now, your host and mine, Trevor Devall.
And we are back with episode 5 of Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. I am your intrepid host, as always, Trevor Devall, and I'm so happy to be back. Back not only to the show, but back from a couple of conventions that I did over the past few weeks. The first one was Animathon in Edmonton, and the last one was Anime Evolution in Burnaby, and it was awesome. It was so cool. For those of you who tuned in to hear episode 4... Was it episode 4? Yes, I believe it was episode 4, where we interviewed Vic Mañana, and that was awesome. It was live, and there was a beautiful natural reverb in the room, and it just sounded so excellent, and all the people laughing at all the jokes. God, I love a live studio audience. It's great. Apparently, my webmaster tells me that we're up to like 600 listeners or something. It's unbelievable so far, and that's only within like the last month and a half or something like that. So thank you so much to all you fans out there who are spreading the good word. Keep it up. I'm having a ball doing it. So before we get on with our regular scheduled program, I do want to mention a couple things. The first one, I'm very happy to announce that, in fact, Ocean Studios is doing Death Note. There was a whole bunch of fans coming up to me asking me about that show. Are you guys doing Death Note? And in fact, yes, we are. I can say that now because Ocean has officially announced it, and I am cast as Aizawa in that show, the guy with the great hair, the big afro cop dude who's a little mean to L, which is cool. So there it is, Death Note. Look for it. It's great fun to record. We've done a bunch of episodes already, and I'm looking forward to the rest. Now, there is something here that I do want to mention. As my regular listeners out there know, I've had this problem with IMDB over the past few years because they keep getting their information wrong on my bio site. They keep saying that Pyro in X-Men Evolution, oh yes, you know where this is going, Pyro was voiced by Michael Dobson. But that's not true, it was me. But finally, we know now why IMDB thought that it was Michael Dobson, and here it is. My good friend Drac at Crystal Acids writes in, and he tells me, Pyro. On the Pyro issue, Trev, I'm sorry to have to say this, but Dobson getting credit may actually be my fault. I never submitted it to IMDb, but I did maintain the cast list for X-Men Evolution on the now-defunct TV Tome website, where they took most of their info from, and, well, I don't recall exactly how I handled it, but I do know that Pyro caused me trouble, because during his first appearance, he just laughed and barely said anything, making it very hard to be sure who played him. Not to mention I probably didn't know your voice well enough at the time to be able to recognize you. The credits, of course, were just a block of names without characters, only listing actors with principal roles, and typically shrunk and squeezed to the point of barely being legible. I suspect that I may have initially credited Pyro to Dobson because he was in the credits, but without his regular character, which was the Blob. I must have realized the mistake and corrected it later when Pyro started appearing more, but by that time everything had already been copied to IMDb. However, they seem to have fixed it now, and I must say, all is right with the universe, because I just recently checked IMDb and dun dun dun! In fact, I am listed. Presto! Once again, my rightful place as Pyro has been reinstated. So if that was you, Drac, getting on their race, then thank you for that, my friend. So that's the situation on the on the Pyro front, so I'm very happy about that. Now, the other thing is, in our very first episode with Sam, we talked about yaoi, the yaoi phenomenon, and I didn't know what that was. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly now, but I do know now, because Drac once again came to the rescue with an explanation for poor dumb Trev about what yaoi is. And basically he says that yaoi is fangirls reading too much into male friendships. And it's been going on long before anime became popular in the West. He talks about the ambiguously gay bishonen, which literally means pretty boy, Gundam Wing was the first to do this in a major way, I believe, drawing a huge female audience and online following, and it really cemented itself in the market when Night Hunters, a truly awful show about a team of florists secretly moonlighting as assassins... Tragedy, I missed that one. Sold like hotcakes despite being reviled by the traditional anime fan base. Jeez, do you think? Anyway, he goes on to say that the appeal was basically explained to me as being that when viewing a regular couple, a girl will always end up comparing herself to the female in the story and end up feeling inferior. When both parts of the couple are males, that distraction is no longer there. Well, that sounds like a very interesting opinion. But nonetheless, now I know what yaoi is and I know what panels to avoid in the future. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure now to get to the meat, the heart of the show, the heart of episode 5, here on Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. My guest today, the lovely, the talented Kelly Sheridan. There she is. Hello, Kelly.
Wasn't I
how
very
are
good
you?
being quiet that whole time?
You were. It was
I had
almost
to
like...
bite my tongue. I'm just sitting here staring at Trevor while he said all of that, kind of reacting. But
That's right.
I wasn't sure if I could talk, so I just sat here.
Well, you did well.
Enthralled.
You were very professional.
Thank you.
Not like Sam Vincent.
No.
Did you hear that podcast? He keeps cutting me off.
No.
Unbelievable.
He's naughty.
Oh, that's awesome. I love bragging about that. So how's it going? How are you?
Good. Very happy to be here.
Well, it's very
I have
happy
to
have
say,
you here.
I've heard a lot about the dungeon. And it's very comfy. I don't know what these boys are talking about. I've got my comfy fuzzy shackles on. You
Well-
make sure those are nice and padded. And
I brought those in there just
yeah,
for you.
I got a
today.
little cup of water and a little tin cup that I can rattle against the bars if I need to.
Water, that's more than I gave the other guys. See how privileged you are.
Well, I'm your first girl guest, so you know
That's
you gotta...
right. You really are. You're my first female. You're the first girl that's been in my house. Well, that's not entirely true. But...
And I'm never leaving. Thanks to the shackles.
So, the first thing I'd like to talk about is your history in the world of animation.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, I want to play a little something.
Oh no, what
we
is
go.
it? Okay.
And now, Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests presents In Memoriam, a history of our guests' long and faithful service to the cause of voice acting. Now, Kelly Sheridan, you have been involved. Oh, thank you. Wasn't that great?
Fancy.
Isn't that inspirational? You've been involved in animation for many, many, many years. I have in front of me the document that I always have in front of me in these interviews, which is, ironically,
IMDb.
the IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
And the first
I
thing
think
I'm
mine
seeing
is
here...
fairly accurate.
Is that right?
This must be a well-known fact by now, but every actor Googles themselves all the time.
yeah,
I mean,
like
they'll
every
never
10
admit
minutes.
to it, but the last time I checked, it was pretty accurate, I would say.
Well,
so
we
we'll see.
will find
Okay,
out how
well,
accurate it
put me through
is.
the test.
Oh, this is your career, Kelly Sheridan. So the first things we've got here is a ton of Barbie
Yes.
shows. That's a big one, Barbie.
That's a big
I mean, that's
one.
like
That was
the-
a big fish. I went out and reeled that one in one day.
And so what was the first? And these are movies. These are straight to video movies you're doing.
Yes, they're straight to DVD.
DVD.
Movies. And then in the last 5 or so years, they've also been a bunch of toys and, CD-ROM things and all that stuff.
The whole kit and caboodle.
So it's great. Mattel has been very, very nice to me.
And we like you,
Yes,
Mattel.
thank you,
We will
Mattel.
continue to buy your products. Fairytopia, Magic of the Rainbow. That's the first one on here.
Yeah, that's-
Barbie in the 12 Dancing Princesses, the Barbie
Yes.
Diaries. They just go
Yes.
on and on.
Barbie My Scene. They've got about 4 different kind of series, I guess you could call them, going. There's like the fairy series, where this 3D CGI, where she's the fairy, and the princess series, which are like the big musical kind of dance ones, and the My Scene ones, which are like Sex in the City for preteens. And the Barbie Diaries, where she's just like a regular kid who plays in a band. So yeah,
Wow.
they
Well, they've got everything. Do they
She's
have
out there.
Barbie CSI? That's what I would like to
no, maybe that's next in development.
see. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be right up their alley.
Yeah.
Barbie CSI. Hack Roots is a show that we've worked on, but I think
Yes.
you're one of the leads on that show. I'm assuming
One
Is
of them,
that
yes.
One of the leads.
Yeah, I
Chino.
played Chino.
That's
With
here.
her,
How
her
many
crazy kooky hat.
how many episodes have you recorded of that?
Oh.
Was that last year or was it this year?
was
last
it was
year,
part,
wasn't
kind of a bit of both,
Okay.
I would say. And I can't remember how many we did because I sort of got killed off about, I don't even know, halfway through or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, not sort of killed off, but her character in the computer world was terminated. So, and she came back in a vision, I think. Oh, I hope. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't give that away. Anyway, she does. There's a little insider, little spoiler.
That's okay. I'm famous for giving away endings to anime. So
yeah, I know it's so hard to keep track of what fans have seen and what
I know.
you know.
I know.
So
at some point, you just have to assume that they've all seen it, and those who haven't, well, that's the price they pay
yeah,
for not
especially
going
with
out
anime,
buying
and
the
the original's out there somewhere. So if you really want to find out what happens, you probably can.
Exactly. Martin Mystery is the next one here. This
Yes.
was a
Speaking
big
of
show.
Sam Vincent.
Speaking of Sam Vincent, indeed, as we always tend to do on these shows.
I think
'cause
I
the
was
guys on
lucky
every
enough
show.
to get the only part that wasn't played by Sam Vincent on that show.
That, I think, that was a good show. That's the same producers as Team Galaxy.
Yes,
And-
Marathon.
Yes, Marathon.
Yeah.
And also they did some spy one before, one of the first shows.
Yes, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it was like 3 girl spies. And
Right.
They
I've
went on
seen ads for
adventures and
that.
stuff. But
So
Martin
that's
Mystery was
cool.
great.
Yeah, you get a lot of. I've got a ton of questions and fan mail stuff for you
Ooh,
here.
fun.
Yes, that'll come later. But there's a lot of people who all say, "Oh gosh, it's so great! It's Diana and Martin Mysteries. It's so awesome."
Well, that's
Which I
really great
agree.
because they it was a prelay that we did, but they animated it in a sort of anime style.
Right.
If you watch it, so it's great. It's like a really awesome combination.
I
of both of
remember
them,
I
so.
only did one episode of that. I did a guest star on it, but because they're the same producers as Team Galaxy, I remember that
Right.
Michael Donovan, the director, had these signs up around the room that said "Act faster" the whole time. Because they were trying to get that sense of it all being anime and kind of translated. Ha ha ha!
Yeah, I remember going in for the audition and he just kept saying faster, faster until you feel like your head's going to explode.
Yes.
And then you have to go on to other shows where you kind of go at a regular pace.
Yeah.
And all the directors would be like, "Why are you talking so fast?"
You
can't
take
keep up
some
with you.
speed before the session again.
Yeah, and you're never kind of sure how it's going to work out, but then seeing the show, it's got this amazing pace and energy, and they managed to fit all this stuff into a half
Yeah.
hour. So
Well, I quite like it. I've seen a couple episodes. I really like that show. You
yeah,
do good.
it's
You
fun.
good.
We did a lot of those.
Yeah, was it 52? 50 something, maybe more.
No, we did like 60 something, I think.
Oh, here it is. 63 episodes apparently.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Wow.
It was great.
That's tons.
Yeah. super
Inuyasha is the next one on this list, and of course that's a huge
Yes.
one. Sango.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge one. Inuyasha.
That might be what I'm best known for in the anime world, or what fans are kindest about. I would say.
That's one of those shows. I mean, how many episodes was done of Inuyasha? Like 130
I couldn't even tell you.
or something. It
Millions.
just went
Yeah.
on and on
We
and
did
on.
some movies and
Yeah. That's
Sango.
cool. What does
She's
Sango
great.
sound like? Because it's funny because I use text little pieces of Inuyasha script when I teach to talk about ADR, and I talk
cool.
about how to read an ADR script, and it just so happens that the example scripts I have for teaching my students is Inuyasha, and I always see
very
these
cool.
Sango lines, and I've never actually heard Sango.
Well, this is the thing about the majority of jobs I do, or have done up until like the past year or two, is they're pretty much me. There's voice actors like you and Sam and whoever else that, have this huge library of accents and different voices you can do, and I just kind of come in and I do my regular sort of teen voice, and sometimes she's like an angry teen and sometimes she's a perky teen, but pretty much all the time she sounds like me. And I'm lucky enough now that I'm getting a little older that people are starting to cast me as more character-y kind of things, but
For example, on the show that you and I do, which we'll talk about a
Yes.
little later.
Okay.
But that's a big.
That's an inside scoop, that
That
one.
is an inside scoop, and that's a great couple roles for you. But we'll get to
Yes.
that later. We'll
yeah,
get to that
yeah,
later.
So Sango
Inuyasha-
sounds pretty much like me, but she's she's part just sort of regular girl who likes a boy and is just trying to be a girl in the world, and she's also part demon slayer. So she's got her.
Naturally.
She's got her. She reminds me of Buffy, which is why I like her.
Oh,
It's
that's
one of my
true,
favorite
she is.
shows.
She's
yeah.
sort of the anime Buffy, isn't
yeah,
she?
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So that's why I love her. But
that was
she sounds like me.
I only did, I think, 4 or 5 episodes or something like that. I played one of the band of 7 or one of the 7
Right.
bad ninjas or something. But I really enjoyed that show. I like to work on it. It was so great. It was like if I was 12 again, I would be all over that
it's
show.
got everything. It's got
Absolutely.
the demons, it's got the comedy,
The
it's
giant
got the
sword,
romance,
the spiky hair.
It's got the girls in the outfits with the thing and the thing. And the, yeah.
And the ring ding. My Little Pony is another big one here.
Yeah.
Now you've done, who do you play? Is that a series or is that a series of
No,
movies?
for the most part, they did a bunch of like little movies that they released with toys. Then they also
like
did some
specials, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Cool.
So I played a bunch of roles on My Little Pony. I played Cotton Candy.
Yeah, that's the first one listed here.
And I did a bunch of the songs
Oh yeah.
for My Little Pony stuff, along with like Tabitha St. Germain. I think Venus did some singing for
Venus Terzo.
Yep. So I can hear on some of the songs, and just a bunch of other. I can't even keep track because they always come out with new toys, and those are the characters, like the new characters that they put into the shows. So you end up playing kind of 5 or 6 different ponies. But Cotton Candy was the big one that I can remember.
Huh. And so you're a singer as well. This is your.
You're
a singer, man. You like to sing
I
and
don't know
crank
if
out
I
them
call
tunes.
myself a singer. I'm an actor who can sing.
Who can carry a
kind
tune
of
in a bucket.
Yeah, with a bunch of other people if they're singing at the same time.
To cover up my mistakes. I understand. I'm the same.
Yeah, there's a couple of Barbie musicals made, and they got the big Broadway singers to do the singing portions of that. Which they did some amazing matches, like. Listening to them, I thought, oh, that's what I would sound like if I was a Broadway star.
We did a Tom and Jerry Christmas special a while ago, and there was a number of big musical numbers in it, and I thought, oh, well, they'll hire singers. But no, it was us.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. And, it was 9 a.m, and I've been up all night.
Yeah. I know, and you can, as an actor, you can get in front of the mic and just do whatever and feel really comfortable, but as soon as you have to sing, I don't know, I'm like this anyway. I just
go,
I
I get quite nervous, too.
Oh my God.
Or like the thing they talk about where if you have to whistle into the microphone, suddenly you can't whistle, suddenly your lips dry up, you forget how to whistle, you don't know, what am I doing? I don't know how to whistle anymore.
Yeah, the director will say, okay, we need a stunt whistle, who's going to whistle? And suddenly everyone in the room is whistling, and okay, we'll have you do it. And then that person gets up to the mic and just kind of goes...
That and belching and all the things that we just do in our regular lives that we can't do.
But suddenly when you're put on the spot, you just kind of go...
This is the kind of thing that we have to deal with in the studio. It's such a hard life.
Our jobs are very
such a hard life. Class of the Titans.
Yeah.
This is a show close to my heart because I play a variety of characters in the show. I'm not one of the leads like you. You and Kirby.
But you played one of my favorites, which was Hades.
Oh, Hades.
Loved Hades.
Fun.
Yeah.
That was just me doing my Mark Oliver impersonation. I'm Hades, aka Mark Oliver.
And didn't you do something really creepy too? Didn't you do some kind of creepy monotone kind of?
Yes, that was who was that?
Who was that?
It's the Angel of Death
Yes.
Who was that?
I can't remember.
I can't remember his name, but he was really down.
Oh, he was perverty kind of creepy deepy. I remember you came in and did that and we all sort of went, oh, he's perfect.
But you, because this show is about you, not about me, you played Teresa, who's one of the main girls. Now, this show, just for those of you who maybe haven't seen it, and which would probably be a lot of people in the States, because
I don't think it airs in the States.
No, I don't think so.
There's some stuff on YouTube, but
right, I've seen those clips.
Yeah,
it's a great show, and it's basically
awesome
about these high school students who are sort of incarnations of the Greek gods.
Yep.
And they are attending high school, and all of their teachers.
And that's right. So you have Harry, who's the descendant of Hercules.
Yeah.
Jay, who's the descendant of Jason and the Argonauts, and Odie, Odysseus, etc., etc.
Right.
And I'm Teresa, who's the descendant of Theseus. And I have super ninja powers, and I'm also...
Because the Greeks were known for their super
ninja
powers.
So was Theseus, I believe. As well as my psychic powers. I'm sort of I divine what's going to happen and can see stuff, sort of, the visions and so forth. So yeah, it's really amazing. I get to play all of these super strong, cool female characters that just, kick butt, and... It's awesome. It's a great kind of voyeuristic way to
we can all
experience
be
all that stuff.
superheroes.
Yeah, that was a really fun show too.
Yeah, that's a great one. Lots of Inuyasha. Crypto the Superdog.
Yeah,
Crypto the Superdog.
Yeah, we were super dogs together.
We were members of the Dog Stars, like the Super Friends.
I was Mammoth Mutt. She was way up there.
Or way down there.
Exactly. Now there's a case where it wasn't just your
True, that was one of the first that was kind of
very cartoony show, so it lended itself to that kind of stuff. I was
Yeah,
very
that was
impressed
a
because
fun
that's kind of one of the first shows that we worked on
I
on
think
any
it
kind of
was.
regular basis.
Yeah, I think it was.
So that was you're very impressive. She's very impressive, very professional behind the microphone. This girl, she's very good. In fact, there was
Little
a time.
did they know. Don't tell lies, Trevor.
There was a time where I was going to direct, and one of the first things, and that still may happen, but one of the first things I was set to direct was you in a Barbie show, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yes, that's right. You never knew that. You never knew that. I
just
director.
get the script and show up and
That's
say
right.
the words.
Well, it didn't happen, obviously. But one day, maybe.
One day, maybe. They go through a lot of directors, those Barbie people, because they do a lot of projects. So
Yes, a ton.
Yeah.
X-Men Evolution.
Yes.
X-Men Evolution.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Witch won the Maximoff. And what was that voice? Do you recall? That's a number of years ago now.
She was just kind of like growly. When she did say anything, she was pretty stoic. But yeah, she was just kind of, where's Magneto? And like all kind of in the teeth and in the back of her throat. She was an angry
They're fun to
girl.
play, angry characters.
Yep.
They're really fun!
Yeah, and then there was always comedy stuff with her and Toad, because he was in love with her, and it was unrequited. She never returned it, but yeah, that was that was kind of the fun stuff to play.
Mega Man and T-Warrior at Ocean.
Yeah.
You did, I think...
Black Rose, I
Black
think?
Rose, there we go. Black Rose.
Yeah. And she had a pseudonym. What was her... I can't remember. That was like her...
Rose?
Yeah, that was her Mega Man kind of character-y name. But now I can't remember what her...
Judy? Was it Judy?
Yeah, it was Judy. How'd you know?
Well,
That was it, Judy.
So you have worked on all these shows. I was saying at the convention last weekend that basically all the shows that get done at Ocean here, we all eventually work on in some capacity. So,
yeah.
Any of the show, like I'm looking at these shows like Project Arms and Monster Rancher and Escaflowne, of course, was the movie.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we all worked on those in some capacity. But again, I know in Escaflowne you were the lead.
Hitomi.
Yes, that's right. Hitomi
Yeah, in the
Escaflowne.
series and in the movie. That was a really fun one, too.
Cool.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny, though, because we never worked together. That's the thing. You kind of go in and you do your part, and sometimes if they've recorded other people before you hear sort of snatches of voice, and I go, oh, is that Kirby? Oh, is that, Chantal? Who is that? But you're never in the studio together, so oftentimes you kind of don't find out until after the fact.
That's right. It's one of the rare joys in my life where
not working with other actors.
That's right. I love that. I hate those guys. Get them out of my
being
booth.
alone.
I love it when I'm doing a show and they've already recorded a bunch of the voices, and I'll hear somebody who I don't recognize, and I'll be like, oh wow, who is that? Is that somebody new?
Yeah.
And either it is somebody new, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Or no, that's Sam.
And they're doing something you've never heard before.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, they're not completely washed up after all. They're not completely dried up, useless husks anymore.
Well, Sam is, but
pretty much. Yes. We only say this because I know he listens to every episode. So that's
really?
for you, Sam.
Good. Good. No, I love Sam. We've worked on lots of shows together, so we've got like a sibling kind of.
Yes.
I just tease him all the time.
He's. I love him, man.
Yeah.
He's like my brother.
all right.
I love the guy. You know what I mean? Silent Mobius. This is a number of years ago. Do you remember Silent Mobius? That's a few years ago.
Was this
now.
Babes on a Ship? We called it, Babes on a Ship?
That could be.
I think that might have been Babes on a Ship.
Babes on a Ship.
That's the thing. You always have these I often have sort of alternate names for things, and so and then you can't remember the actual name. I think it was Babes on a Ship. That one was fun too.
Babes on a Ship. All right. You worked on Action Man. Apparently at some point.
Did I?
Here. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what it says here. Johnny's Girl. That's a TV show.
That was a movie of the week.
Oh my
that was an
goodness.
on-camera role.
Oh, yeah. So you do that as well?
I did in high school. I got a couple of sort of little parts on things, and then I went to theater school, and it just sort of never meshed with with the kind of schedule involved in film and TV stuff. And also at that point, when I was in my, 19, early 20s, the kind of roles being offered for people my age, I was sort of like, no, icky. So I went to theater school instead, and voiceover was kind of the one thing that I could kind of hold on to, because the schedule sort of worked with school. And yeah, and then I kind of stopped doing film and TV, and I don't really miss it.
I hear ya. I hear ya.
I don't really miss it. It's
12 hours of sitting around waiting,
long
for your line.
days, yeah, with no
Eating
you're just
bad
sort of,
food off the,
and you
craft
gotta,
services
as a
table.
girl, you're always like made up with the makeup and the hair and the thing. With voiceover stuff, you can go in.
Exactly. You can
wear
look
your
just like we do
pajamas,
now,
and
wearing chicken
we look
suits.
terrible.
Exactly. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. Hamtaro. I never had to say that.
Hamtaro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think that's it.
Yeah, Hillary.
Yes,
Hillary.
she was a human.
Yes.
In Hamtaro, and was one of the girls that went to school with them. I was only in like 3 or 4 episodes on that one, so I can't quite remember.
There's all, again, like this, we look at the list here, but, it's the same with mine. I look at it and I think, oh, yeah, well, I worked on all the shows, but I don't remember. I mean, a lot of the time it's additional voices.
Yeah.
And I don't recall.
Yeah, you end up playing a whole bunch of little stuff.
Ranma 1/2.
That was another big one. That was like
another giant
6
series.
years or something, 6 or 7 years that we did that.
Yeah.
That show.
Those endless shows, like Dragon Ball Z was. Did you work on Dragon Ball Z?
No.
Because there's been a number
I might have done like a little bit of incidental stuff, but not really.
That's the same with me. I mean, I came on right at the end and did like 2 episodes or something. Yeah. But that was the Canadian dub, because that show's been dubbed I don't know how many times, 3 or 4 times now or something.
In English, you mean?
Yeah, because they did one in Houston, and they did or Texas anyway.
That's so weird.
I think they did one in New York, and they did one here, and maybe, who knows, maybe Wyoming. Maybe they did one in Wyoming somewhere too.
Or
I don't
Minnesota, or
You're darn tootin'. That's the best darn dub you ever did here.
Yeah, strange. Well, Ranma was funny because we did that for however long, years and years. And then Inuyasha came on kind of right after that one ended. And I think it was the same people. It was the same American producer anyways that we were working with. And so I played Ukyo, who was this, girl who was in love with Ranma, who everybody was in love with Ranma. And her weapon of choice was this giant spatula. She worked at an okonomiyaki kind of shack making omelets. And so that she'd like beat people with a spatula. And then I got the part of Sango, whose weapon of choice is this enormous boomerang. So I played these 2 kind of like chickies who are, in love with the guy with these enormous bizarro weapons. They just kind of clobber people with. So,
oh, no, I just love anime.
Typecasting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you ever work on Gundam Seed Destiny? Did you do?
No, that was a train that I missed. I think I was one of the few people who.
I think so.
Everyone worked on that show.
Because
again, maybe I did a couple of little teeny
right.
but
Undoubtedly, at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure a fan out there will correct me.
Yeah,
they know way
no
more
doubt.
about
I'm
that
sure
stuff than
I'll
I
be
do.
flooded with emails here.
Yeah.
Actually, if you recall in episode 36, she was...
What does Kelly Sheridan know? She doesn't even know the show she's been on. My goodness.
It's true, kids. We don't even know our own careers. You know them better than we do. Yeah. And that's an absolute fact.
So I'll trust them to let me know. If
to correct you.
Yeah.
And Soul Taker. You were on Soul Taker. You
that
played
was a heavy one.
A very important character, Maya Misaki.
Yeah. She came in just at the beginning, didn't she?
She was
around
at the beginning
for a little
and
bit.
then right at the end.
Oh, right.
Because she turns out to be like the big evil bad chick.
Yeah.
That is like the devourer of worlds or something like that.
That one was heavy. That was a session that you left like...
Yes, that was...
like wiping sweat away, going...
Yes, that was a pretty intense
show. Take a cold shower.
Yeah. What did I want to say about Soul Taker? Oh, yeah. I bring this up because Drac from Crystal Acids, he says that Soul Taker still stands out as one of the best dubs ever produced in no small part, thanks to you and your guest today. So yeah, that's an awesome compliment.
Yeah,
so thanks, Drac.
Thank you.
Keep
Drac.
the compliments coming. We'll
forgive you for that whole putting Trevor as, or whatever it was.
That's
Michael
right.
is
Trevor's Pyro and Dobson is some sort of weird triangle.
I'll let you guys on a secret. I'm actually the one that played Pyro.
That's true. And you heard it first here.
Keeping it a big secret. Trevor played Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. We swapped roles just for, just for fun.
The series.
So that's something just for you guys to know.
We're going to take a short break here and be right back with my special guest, Kelly Sheridan. Don't go away.
Yay.
We interrupt this eargasmic cornucopia of pure audio wind to shamelessly promote another podcast. No! A big, bald broadcast.
But what makes it big and bald?
The Big Ball Broadcast brings you news on all things geeky, movies, gadgets, games, cartoons, and anime, and other random fandom.
You're fired. I'm fired.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.
But what makes it big and bald?
It's hosted by big, bald anime and video game voice actor Kyle Aber and his co-host, musician and upcoming author, Otherworld Steve.
Oh, you must smell like feet wrapped in leathery burnt bacon.
Subscribe via iTunes or visit thebigbaldbroadcast.blogspot.com.
That was totally wicked!
Tonight, on some television station or other, don't miss reality TV's best of the best. Starting with American Messiah. Our semi-celebrity panel of John Tesh, Sting, and Louis Farrakhan join Simon Callow as he self-righteously scrutinizes an endless parade of messianic triumphs.
My name is Candy, and all my friends tell me I'm, really lucky, so I think I could be, a son of God or something. Oh, really? Look at that. No crown of thorns, no stigmata, nothing. And you're too fat. The people of America do not need a fat messiah.
That's American Messiah at 8:30, followed by Are You God or Not at 9, and Martyred by America at 9:30. Only on TV.
You're listening to Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests.
My guest for our show today is Kelly Sheridan.
Did you make that all by yourself?
No, sadly, I can't take credit for the writing of that. That's my good friend Dylan Reimer, local funny man, local comic who...
That's super! Doing all those voices.
Well, you know, that's what we like to do there.
Yeah, this is what I do instead of going out on dates. I sit at home and
I really am the first girl you've ever had.
Oh, God! You heard it first here on Voiceprint. You, no doubt, have a number of favorite moments, fond recollections of the studio, of shows you've done. Yes. Anything
I suppose you want to hear me help me talk about them.
Well, that would be the hope, the great white hope. Yes. Anything spring to mind? Favorite moments or funny moments?
I don't know.
Bloopers?
I don't know. I mean, there's always those things. I don't know if you've had this experience with anime stuff, because you don't record in the same studio as other people. Actors will leave you little messages within the recording, and the engineer will save them and then just kind of play them randomly for you when you're just smack in the middle of some intense line. So I've had a lot of those. Kirby's left me a few of those. Where the line's something like, "Hurry, we've got to get to the castle and save the so-and-so." And instead he'll record something like, "Hurry, baby, we got to strip all your clothes off and, get you tied up." Or something.
Wow, Kirby wrote that. That's hard to believe. That's
yeah,
hard to imagine.
I know. He's such a good boy. So there's stuff like that happens. And were you there at Ocean when they had a rash of new engineers suddenly start working there?
Yes.
They got a whole bunch of work and they had
Yes.
to hire a whole bunch of people. And so they decided they were going to initiate all of these engineers that started working there. So I think it was Monica Story that came in, and she was doing Inuyasha. And they had her come in, and she pretended to be super flaky and airy-fairy. And she came in, and if fans out there don't know this, which I'm sure they do, Inuyasha's super fantastical. There's people that throw up wolves, and there's demons, and all this stuff that happens. And so the first thing she said when she came in was, "So is this based on a true story? Because I just need some background on the characters." And she just couldn't get it through her head that it wasn't real. And then she had them all come in and do a chant with her. So they have all of this on tape of her just putting this poor engineer through the mill. It's his first day. He's never done any kind of cartoon recording before, and she's like, "I'm just not feeling the vibe. Can you guys all come in here and sort of chant?" And the poor guy just didn't. She was cleansing his aura and just all this stuff. So I thought it would be really fun to come in with an entourage one day. I can't wait till they get a new engineer working there, because this is where I would like to come in with an entourage with a makeup artist and a bodyguard and I don't know who else, a handler. No one can talk to me. They have to talk through the handler and stuff. And just
Well, you make it your your chance at that because
yes,
because Mike, the engineer, Mike,
yes,
he took the job at Postmodern Sound down the street.
No, I did not know that.
He's only there for the prelay now. But
so they might be hiring someone.
In fact, you better get your entourage ready because I think your chance is finally here. I meant to do this. I meant to play you a little clip. That's what I meant to do. Oh. Sorry, kids. We gotta play a little clip now that I meant to do before. This is a clip from.
What is it?
What happened? You know what? I'm just gonna play it, and we can talk about it after.
All right. Okay. Name that clip.
Name that.
Miss, how did you know I was there?
Maya. I'm Maya Misaki. Now, what were you saying?
Right, Maya. You said I was buried alive. How did you know that?
Well, just a gut feeling, I guess.
A gut feeling, you say?
Is that weird?
Well, yeah, kinda.
Something led me to the cemetery. I guess you could call it a sixth sense or a premonition. I knew you were alive in there, so I couldn't just walk away, could I? I know it sounds confusing.
Yeah.
Hey, never mind that. You should call your family or someone and tell them, hey guys, I'm back from the grave.
No, Mom was the only one left.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, a couple things strike me about this clip from Soul Taker.
Yeah.
Maya Misaki.
Right.
The first one is that I don't think that sounds anything like you.
You don't?
I don't. I think, now that you're sitting here in front of me and I'm hearing it, I'm going, oh, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. But when I heard that in the show when I was watching it, I'm like, who is that? I did not know that was you. And the second thing that strikes me about that clip is what an incredible impression of Brad Swaile you do. Isn't that something?
Thank you. I've been working on that for
I think you nailed him. I think you got him down.
You know, funnily enough, I've known Brad for probably like 15 years now, because we started at the same youth theater together. Before either of us were ever in voiceover stuff, we were doing children's theater together. Goofy, silly musical children's theater.
Wow.
Yep. Me and Brad.
He's a hell of a guy, that
He's
Brad.
a great guy.
He's going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh, fun. It's always fun coming into a session after Brad's been there because he's an incredible artist.
Yes.
And in between takes, he'll doodle on the page, and my doodles are just like, stick figure with a whatever thing. But his are these amazing, ornate, like shaded, beautiful, crazy character drawings that he just...
His doodles.
Yeah, that he just scribbles off in 5 minutes. So cool.
He makes, at conventions, he makes pictures of his characters. He draws them and inks them and the whole bit. And then he sells them at the auction and donates the proceeds to charity.
Whatever, Brad, I can do that.
Yeah, shut up, Brad. You suck.
Quit showing off.
Yeah, totally. Stupid head.
No, that's awesome.
I ask this of everybody who comes on the show, and I guess the question, Miss Sheridan, is if you could be a twee, what twee? No.
If I was falling in a forest, would anyone hear me?
If you were falling in a forest, would anybody care? How did you get in the business? How did you come to be the iconographic voice actress that you are today?
I started in the womb.
Oh, my.
Funnily enough, talking about Brad Swaile, I started in children's theater at the Vancouver Youth Theatre, and the woman that founded that theater also had an agency, a talent agency for kids. So I started at the theater. I did a couple of shows there.
Who was that?
Carol Tarlington.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay.
And she had an agency called Tarlington Talent.
Tarlington Talent, yeah.
And I did a couple of shows at the theater, and she said, hey, why don't you come over to the agency and start going out for auditions for film and TV stuff? So, I did a bunch of that kind of stuff. And then I started going out on voiceover auditions, and I loved cartoons as a kid, and I just thought it sounded like the best job ever, and I went for tons of auditions and just never got anything. And then one day I was auditioning for a voiceover, and I came in and read for the part, and I could tell it just kind of wasn't the right part for me. It was a lot older than I was at the time. I think I was like 13. And this fellow named Paul Quinn was walking, it was at Ocean, and he was walking through the hallway at the time and overheard my audition and went, hey, I need a 13-year-old girl for this show that I'm doing next week. Yeah, this girl will do. So I got, I didn't get cast for the show that I went to audition for. Right. It just happened to be walking through the hallway. And he actually gave me my start with a lot of, he directed Madeline.
Right.
And yeah, so he did a lot of that early stuff that I did when I was a kid.
So did you know what you were getting into? You said that you loved cartoons as a kid and everything. So when you got your agent and you were doing the youth theater stuff, did you say, hey, you know what? I really want to do cartoons? Or
no,
or
it's
how
just
how did that
something.
come
I think that was when it was just starting to kind of, it was about, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago in Vancouver. And it was just starting to kind of blossom in Vancouver, and there were really not a lot of young women doing it. Like most of the young girl voices were going to adult women who could kind of do that young girl thing.
Right.
And I don't know, a couple of pioneers started thinking, well, maybe we should actually try casting real kids for some of these younger parts that we have. So yeah, I just kind of fell into it.
That seems to be a common thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's dream job.
No kidding. And now you're specifically a voice actor. You don't really do on-camera stuff at all anymore.
No, I haven't had a film or TV audition in, I don't know, 10 years or something.
But you do have a comedy troupe.
I do.
And what is the name of that?
Genus Theater. We have a website, genustheater.com.
I'll put that up on the show notes.
GENUS. And like genius, but without the I.
But without the I, because there's no I in genius.
I am not a genius, so it goes together. And coincidentally, we just finished our first podcast.
Yes, I had heard about this.
Yes, it's on the website, genustheater.com. And I think we're trying to I don't know how you do it. We're trying to figure out how to put it on iTunes and do that whole thing. It's a big, crazy thing.
Yes, it's not easy.
But
if you're not technologically inclined.
Yeah, which I am so not. I directed this one and I put it together and then I sent it off to another guy in the company and said, can you make it go and make it work? I don't know how to do it. So ours is very different from this. It's a sketch comedy
podcast
kind of thing.
There's a popped pee.
Poppy podcast.
I'm sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not used to being in front of a microphone, so sometimes I pop my pee.
Yeah, I can tell. It's okay. I'll give you some pointers after.
That's the real reason why you're here. It's a video podcast.
It's just audio podcast.
So it's like an old school radio show.
Yeah.
See, that would be awesome.
It was really, really fun, and we're primarily a sketch comedy group. So. We're a theater group that incorporates film shorts into our shows. So you'll have like two kind of on-stage sketches, and then you'll have something up on screen. Yes, and sometimes there's someone on stage talking to someone on screen. It's a lot of fun.
Right, yes,
and then we thought, let's just do a completely audio show next and try that out.
You've done one. You've done one so far?
We've done one podcast, yeah. And we've done 6 stage shows.
And what's the name of the podcast?
In the Beginning.
In the Beginning. In the Beginning.
Yes, because it's our baby's first podcast.
Cool. Well, I will put that up in the show notes and make sure all of you out there on internet radio and go and check it out. It's going to be awesome.
It was lots of fun to do, and it's very risque. It's not for the kiddies.
It's not for the faint of age.
No, it has some
nasty
questionable
words
content.
in it.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. We are an adult theater company, so.
That reminds me, before I forget, I do want to mention a little bit about the show that you and I are working on.
Yes.
Because it is it's a lot of fun. I don't know, can we even talk about it? Can we say the name of it?
I think so.
Because we didn't have to sign any non-disclosures or anything.
No, I didn't sign anything.
Because I think it's going to be big.
I think it's promotion.
I think it is promotion. I think it's going to be great because this show is so much fun to work on.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's called A Kind of Magic, and it's about this family of fairies that gets kicked out of fairyland, and they have to live among the humans. It's kind of
like the Munsters.
Like the Munsters, except fairies and stuff. And you are Willow.
I'm the mom.
The mom and the daughter.
And the daughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a big score for you to play two main characters in a previous show like that.
I couldn't believe it.
And it's a stretch because you're not doing your normal sort of Kelly Sheridan teenager voice.
No, the mom Willow, she's got a Minnesotan thing, and she's that kind of like housekeeper kind of mom. She's got the beehive hairdo and the dress and the wand, and she's not ditzy, but she's just sort of happy all the time.
And the daughter. What's the daughter's name?
Cindy.
Cindy, of course. I should know the name of my own daughter.
Yes,
I'm sorry, Willow.
Because you play my husband.
Yes, Gregor
the ogre.
Yes.
Yeah.
The now vegetarian ogre who doesn't eat children anymore.
Yes, anymore.
So you're Willow and Cindy on that show, and the That's awesome. I love that show. I love working with you on the show. I think it's going to be great. It's hilarious.
We get to see all the storyboards, which is really fun. You don't often get to do that with a show.
That's right. This is a rare treat.
So we get to see how they're going to animate it. Because oftentimes you go in, you record something, and you think it's going to be funny, but who knows when it actually gets animated and finished and all that stuff. Right.
But these guys have already sort of laid out the physicality of the joke beforehand.
Yeah.
So you look at the script, and then you look at the storyboard, and you think, oh, that's why that's funny. Because he falls down the stairs here.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of that
it's great. They've got really
stuff.
broad kind of, everyone's playing somebody really broad, kooky.
Yes, very cartoony,
crazy.
as they say.
Yeah.
Great fun, that show. So check it out when it finally does come on. I'm sure it'll be on YTV or something like that.
A kind of magic.
A kind of magic. And our good contact at YTV, Martin, who we'll be hearing from a little later in the show, I'm sure we'll have all kinds of information about that show when it finally comes to air. Now, one of the questions we get all the time is, what would your advice to newcomers be? This is a big thing because a lot of our fans want to get involved in the voiceover world.
Yep.
And we always get asked these questions at conventions. So on behalf of the fans who cannot see you at conventions.
I really am on the hot seat.
You really are now.
Well, I have to say, I've listened to, I think, all of your podcasts up to this point.
Ooh,
and
I'm honored.
I don't know if I can really improve on the advice that's already been given because, Sam and Matt and Michael all had really good, solid things to say about, how to get into voiceover stuff. You've got to live in a city where they do voiceovers. You practice your craft. Go to theater school really helps. Like theater background helps and all that kind of stuff. But I do have to say that it's amazing how many actors have asked me how to get into voiceover stuff. Either people that I went to theater school with or people that are in film and TV. And I tell them the sort of the same thing I tell everybody else, that you get a demo reel done. You spend $100, $200. You kind of research what a demo reel is. Like lots of people have websites now where they have their demo reels on, or I'm sure there's lots of, you could just Google voice demo reels and practice and sort of find a way to do one, go into a studio and record it. And you gotta pound the pavement and get an agent and do all that kind of stuff. And everyone just kind of nods and goes, okay, yeah, no, that sounds good. And so few people end up going out and doing it. And that's stuff that you're not relying on someone else to do. That's stuff that you can just go out and do yourself.
Right.
And it's really not that hard. So it's amazing how few people who are already professional actors go and do that kind of stuff. So, my point is that even if you've never done any kind of acting work or any kind of voiceover work, even just doing those first few steps, you're so far ahead of the game from people who are already professional actors.
Right.
Just by getting a demo reel done, that's something you can do. Most, unless you live in a really small town, most places have a recording studio somewhere that you can rent time and do one. And
or if you're, the first place I did any sort of serious demo kind of recording was at the campus radio station at the university I used to go to.
Yeah, every university has some sort of radio station. So it's really surprising how few people just kind of go and do that stuff. And I don't think it's out of laziness or anything like that at all. I think it's just out of like fear of the unknown of this whole different kind of genre. You can get people that have done tons of film and TV work and are just sort of terrified of getting in front of a microphone and doing voiceover stuff. So,
isn't that something, when you see these incredible film actors and they just kind of freeze up in front of the mic? But it's just getting used to it. It's a new environment.
It's a totally different thing than what you want to say.
And the fact is,
it's
we're
really
a bunch
not that hard.
Yeah, exactly. And we're a bunch of people that have worked together so often, and we're always laughing and joking and being jackasses.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can be rather intimidating.
Yeah. So just
not that
I
we're
guess
trying to.
No. So I guess my advice is just go out there and kind of do all those beginning baby steps, and you're already way ahead of the game.
Well, I think that's awesome advice.
So
thank you for that. We've got a ton of mail in for Kelly Sheridan, and unfortunately, guys, I'm not going to be able to get to all of it. Some of you have asked multiple questions. I'm going to try and blast through as many as we can, but we've still got some things.
This
to
will be
take
like
care of
speed
here.
dating.
Speed questioning.
Interview questions.
So the first one we have is from Jonathan. He's got a couple questions. The first one is, who do you think is more popular with the anime fans, male voice actors or female voice actors?
Oh,
that's a good question.
I don't know. I really couldn't say. I noticed that it seems like more male voice actors do the conventions, or maybe there's just more of you. I don't know, because
That's
oftentimes
probably true. There's just,
there are kind of these action shows that have like a really large male cast, and then there's a couple of female characters. So that might be why it seems like there's a lot more male actors that go and do the conventions and stuff.
Right.
And I personally don't do a lot of conventions because, I mean, I have to say, like 99% of the fans out there are amazing, wonderful, awesome people. But I've had a couple of kind of icky, scary experiences, like having to change phone numbers and
really,
yeah. And
guys, you know better than that.
And as a girl, it's that makes it a little scarier.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe girls come off a little more standoffish because we're a little spooked, or I don't know. That's a very interesting question.
And it leads directly into the next question. Nicely. Why do you think people are obsessed with voice actors and the characters they voice? Well, there's all kinds of explanations for that, I'm sure.
Some of them we just won't get into, but I think it's just this whole other world that's so different from the world you live in that you can pour yourself into as an actor as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why you can, and there's such a community as well. It's not just sort of this thing that you watch at home. You can go online into forums and chat with other people. You can go to conventions. You can play RPGs. You can do all this stuff that's part of this bigger community that you can involve your entire life in. So
it's
cool about it.
The fan base. They're pretty dedicated. It's pretty rare to find
really
more dedicated.
Hadn't really noticed.
Chris writes in, hi there, my name's Chris, and I've followed the exploits of the Vancouver pool of voice actors for several years, and I love all of your work. The past episodes of Voiceprint have been totally hilarious, and I look forward to listening to more of them. Well, thank you, sir.
Yay.
Since both of you guys were in this show, I've yet to hear any mention of Mega Man NT Warrior. While the show was edited quite a bit from its original Japanese counterpart, it was fun hearing you guys play the characters so lively. Could you talk about any experiences you had with that specific show? Thanks a lot, Chris. I, for one, loved that show. I had a great time. I played Mr. Match, who was just this Scotsman, this really, harsh sort of Scotsman who was part villain but part hero towards the end as well. Yeah. So that was good. And then there was the big evil guy, Dr. Regal.
There was so much awesome. Fun stuff in that show, and it was a shame that they, I remember having to go back and having to do a couple of extra records because they did cut it down so severely for... I think it was on 2 networks or something.
Yeah, there was something.
Whatever the second network was could only air, portions of it. So it was kind of a shame that parts of it got cut because there was so much juicy stuff. But I guess that's the way it is.
Well, what are you gonna do? It was a lot of fun, and I miss it. And here's our ode to Mega Man. Daniela writes in, obviously the question everyone who wants to get into voice acting needs to know is, what is your favorite comfort food? I love that question.
My favorite comfort food is Cracker Jacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Cracker Jacks.
I'm hooked on Cracker Jacks.
I can edit that to make you sound really bad.
I guarantee there are 4 bags of it in my pantry at home.
Really?
Right now.
Cracker Jacks?
Yeah. But you know what? This is my complaint about Cracker Jacks. If the Cracker Jack people are listening, your product tastes fantastic. It is like sunshine in my mouth. But the prizes... when you're a kid and the prizes, you'd get like a little parachute man or those rub-on tattoos.
Yes.
And now they're just like, maybe you get a sticker that's kind of lame. You get this little kind of flimsy piece of paper.
Oh, they're cheaping out on the
Secret
Toy
sticky
surprise?
because it's been, again, they don't even put it in plastic. It's like against the Cracker Jacks. It's kind of melting, all sticky. So that's my comfort food. I love Cracker Jacks.
Wow. See, for me, it's Irish stew.
Oh.
Irish stew for me is, if you give me a bowl of that, and I'm a happy man right there.
Yeah.
I don't need much more than Irish stew. That's my comfort food. Daniela, goes on to say that she loves your work on Martin Mystery. Diana is such a strong character and such a believable persona. I think you're a great role model and have had a powerful influence on my life and aspirations. Thank you very, very much.
Wow, thank you.
And she also says, Trevor, I love your site. Thank you so much for all your hard work and getting your coworkers on the show. It really means a lot. There's a bunch of unanswered questions that you're really opening a lot of closed eyes when it comes to how do I get into voice acting. And I swear if I hear that one more time at a convention, it is true. That is really the reason why I did this show, is because we kept getting that question all the time. And I thought, you know what? I want to be able to answer that directly to the fans.
Yep.
And so that's
well,
awesome.
and not everyone can make it to a convention to ask you those
exactly
kind of questions
right.
too.
So this is,
and it's not only fans, but I don't know if you've had this experience, but my dental hygienist talks to me about it every time I come in. Oh, I'd really like to get into voiceover stuff. And, okay, well, you need to have the kind of job that you can leave at the last minute to go to an audition, and you just sort of see your eyes glaze over.
Right, of course.
But everyone and their dog wants to get into voiceover stuff, so it's a
can you
good
blame 'em?
question to answer.
It is. Thank you for that, Daniela.
Yeah.
Erica from the Philippines. You have a
Wow.
fan in the Philippines. Again, she's asked multiple questions, but sadly, darling, we only have time for one. Who is your favorite among all the characters you have voiced?
Oh, I've had this question before too,
Yes, that's
and
a tough one.
I can never decide. I don't know. You could ask me to pick one, and I'd change my mind 5 minutes later.
In this moment right now.
I don't know, Erica. I don't know what to tell you. I would have to say at this moment, the character I'm having the most fun playing right now would probably be Willow from A Kind of Magic, because she is so different from any character I've had the opportunity to play. But the great thing is about voiceover stuff is you can play characters that are so far from your own personality which doesn't happen often in film and TV, and less often in theater. You can get away with it a bit more in theater.
Yeah.
But that's the exciting thing about it. So that makes it hard to pick one that you love,
completely.
because they're all
It's
so fun.
I mean, I'm with you. For me right now, probably my favorite character right now I'm doing is Gregor on A Kind of Magic.
From A Kind of Magic.
It's so much fun, and it's great.
Yeah.
This
is really not a commercial for A Kind of Magic.
No,
we promise.
It's really not. It's really not. But tune in at 9 o'clock. Here is my question for Kelly. I have noticed that it is very hard to get a good amount of talented female voice actors at anime conventions. I think out of all the voice actors I have met, and I regret not meeting you at Anime North 05, Trevor, I've met almost all the males and a small handful of females that I can quite literally count them on one hand, which for me is rather disheartening as a girl who desperately wants to get into voice acting and get the chance to go to cons. How hard do you feel it is as a female voice actor to get the same amount of support and recognition in the industry as the male voice actors? I mean, we kind of touched on this a little bit with the idea that there tends to be more male voice actors than females anyway.
And I don't know if it's necessarily a problem with support or recognition, because I get lots of mail and the fans are really great and very supportive. So, and I do get invited to a lot of conventions, but like I said, a lot of them I turn down because I have to work, or I have this theater company that takes up weekends and stuff, which often conventions are on. Yeah. And then also, sometimes it's a little, if I've had a bad experience, sometimes I stay away a bit. Right. So I definitely don't think it's a problem with recognition or with support or with appreciation from the fans' point of view at all. They're really amazing. So I don't know if that's necessarily what it is. I think it's just, there's a lot more of you boys out there, and oftentimes a lot more of you sort of play the wide range of characters too. So you're a lot more fun at conventions. You can get up and do your thing.
To God's ears.
Yeah.
Melissa, thank you for the question, Melissa. She also drew a fan pic of Sango. So I'll put the link up on the show notes.
You see,
and
you're gonna get a lot of emails, because it's Sango.
Sango. See, I'm doing that all the time. So forgive me in advance.
Yeah,
thanks for your question.
Some hate mail about that one.
Thanks for your question, Melissa, and to all of you who wrote in questions. I thank you very much. We're gonna do a brand new segment now. This is Martin's Mailbag.
Martin's Mailbag.
And a sheep for no good reason. That's Martin from YTV.
When in doubt,
throw the sheep.
Throw a sheep in there.
Martin is telling us all kinds of stuff. He wants you to know, Kelly, that Martin Mystery and Inuyasha will still be a part of YTV's fall schedule, and they'll be airing a new Barbie movie, Barbie as the Island Princess, on Treehouse TV on September the 15th. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Also on the Teletoon front, the following shows will be in their fall schedule: Yakety Yak, George of the Jungle, Mega Man, Johnny Test, Class of the Titans, What's with Andy, and Ricky Sprocket. And on the YTV front, in the fall schedule, they're going to have Team Galaxy, Being Ian, Stormhawks, Gundam Seed Destiny, Death Note, Inuyasha, Shadow Raiders, Fantastic Four, Martin Mystery, and Transformers Cybertron, all of which we're done here.
Vancouver represent!
And tonight, actually right now, as we are recording this, the sneak peek of Stormhawks is on YTV. So
I have to check that out.
Yeah, we're going to miss it.
Find
also,
it somehow.
Starting tonight and going to Thursday, August the 30th at 6 p.m., I think that's Eastern Standard Time, 4 airings of Edgar and Ellen, starring Gillian Michaels and Kathleen Barr, 2 of the major heavyweights in town.
Yep.
And Brian Drummond plays the evil mayor on Tuesday's airing. I auditioned for that role. Damn you, Brian. This is something interesting. One of the strangest occurrences for Kelly must be, and this is from Martin, the number of pairings her characters have interacted or portrayed as love interests with Kirby Morrow.
Kirby Morrow. I was wondering if you would bring that up.
This is by no means a definitive list, but we have Hitomi and Van Fennel in Escaflowne.
Von Fennel, yes.
Sorry, see, I don't even know.
That's all right.
Songo and Miroku in Inuyasha.
Yes.
Clara and the Nutcracker Prince in
Yes.
Barbie and Nutcracker. Teresa and Kirby as Jay in Clash of the Titans. You as Sal and Kirby as Dave Speedy in Mega Man.
Yes.
And you as Hillary and Kirby as Noel in Hamtaro. So what is with
I don't
that?
know. I don't know. There's something about our voices, I guess, that they just find work romantically together.
They really
which
do.
Kirby and I joke about all the time because we could not be more siblingy together. You know, we're constantly like teasing each other and making fart jokes, and it's as far from romantic as you can get. But I don't know. I think it's great.
Well, hey, there's worse people to be paired with. I mean, he's a pretty good-looking guy.
He's a lovely
But,
fella. He smells very nice, too.
He does. He's always very concerned about the scent. But I'm very pleased that now that you and I are officially married on A Kind of Magic.
I know.
Take that, Kirby Morrow!
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, thanks, Martin, for all the information. Keep it coming. I'm sure you will. He's one of our biggest fans, which is, it's pretty cool to have
That's
somebody
very cool.
that high up in YTV being our biggest fan. So by all means,
He's
spread
got the inside
news.
scoop, so...
Remember to go to genustheater.com. I'll put that link up to the show notes, or on the show notes, rather.
And also, if fans would like to get a hold of me and ask me stuff, I have a website that's in development.
Cool.
At kellysheridan.ca.
Excellent. I'll put that up there,
kellysheridan.com was taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's another Kelly Sheridan? I find that hard to
And
believe.
she works in digital media, so I don't think she's going to be giving up kellysheridan.com anytime soon.
Probably not. Well, thank you so much, my dear. It has been a pleasure having you on the show.
It was wonderful to be here.
Thank you.
I had a great time.
Awesome. Well,
even in the dungeon,
especially
in the spooky closet.
Yes. Tune in next time, guys, when our guest is going to be the lovely and talented Brian Dobson. Brian Dobson the younger, the youngest of the 3 Dobby boys. He's going to be our guest, and he's going to have all kinds of wonderful stories to share, I am certain. Thank you again, Kelly. Thanks to all of you who wrote in with your questions. If you have questions for Brian Dobson, by all means, send them in to Voiceprint at TrevorDevall.com. Keep coming back to the website and check out the latest developments. If you have any comments or questions for yours truly, you can send them to fans at TrevorDevall.com. Thanks to Martin and the brand new segment, Martin's Mailbag. I'm very excited about what's going to happen next time, what kind of new and exciting information Martin's going to give us. That's all from Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. Take care. We'll see you later.